President-elect Donald Trump continuing to make cabinet appointments, but one post he hasn't filled yet is Treasury Secretary. Former BB&T CEO Allison is set to be considered for that position, and he sat down with the president-elect yesterday. Mr. Allison is the former president of the Cato Institute, and he joins us now from Wake Forest University, where he is also an executive in residence. What can you tell us about this gossip about you and Treasury Secretary?
Well, I did have an interesting meeting with President-elect Trump. It was enjoyable, frankly. We talked about public policy in a broad context. Maybe it was a job interview. I've not, there were no promises made on either side of the discussion, but we did talk about regulatory policy, which is a big concern of mine, particularly in regards to the regulation of the financial services industry and the very negative impact that has had on the economic growth.
Would you serve if you were asked?
I really hadn't made a final decision in that regard, and I hadn't been asked yet. So it's
okay.
I got to ask my wife.
You've been accused. There you go. You know what? That's a very wise answer. I have a lot of respect for that. You've blamed the Fed in the past for the housing bubble, and you're certainly not alone in that. You've been a big critic of the Fed, saying that maybe we could get rid of them. Do you think that there is a bubble that the Fed has created right now with the excessively low rates that we've seen?
I do. I don't know where it is. I think the Fed, they've done this over and over again. They've incented misinvestment, and it usually takes a long time to work through the system, but inevitably we get negative consequences.
What do you think is the biggest threat right now?
I'm not really sure. There's reasons for the stock markets to be optimistic right now because of the deregulation and tax policy, but it's already building on a pretty nice run over a long period of time. So when you see all these records being set, you got to be a little nervous about that. Housing prices are up substantially, and you got to be a little nervous about that.
Yeah. A lot of people worry that if we hadn't had the Fed in place and during the financial crisis, obviously that would have been a major challenge, to say the very least. Do you think that that would be a big concern? What would we do in that case if we got rid of the Fed?
Well, even though I'd like to get rid of the Fed, I know we're not going to get rid of the Fed. So what I really think we've got to do is discipline the Fed. I think the Fed played a major role in creating the housing crisis because they created negative real interest rates for years that incented the housing bubble, along with the government agencies Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae. So they started a fire. You can debate whether they put it out or not, but they tend to start other fires, and the only way to keep them from doing that, in lieu of really getting rid of them, which is what I would really like to do, but I don't think it's going to work politically, what we have to do is discipline. And I think the simple thing to do is to go to some kind of rule, like the Taylor rule, where they can't just arbitrarily create money that creates bubbles and then try to fix it by holding rates too low. Yes, free markets are going to have ups and downs, but nothing like what I think monetary policy creates through the Fed.
Yeah, amen to that. John Allison, I wish we had more time. Good stuff. Please come back.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.